So let me tell you about Irene. Irene is a very vibrant lady who loves life, loves her husband, adores her 3 children and grandchildren, and is just somebody who would do anything for you. And when she came to us, her number one priority was, now, I love life, I love my family, what can you do to make me better?
I lived to be a mom. That's what I always wanted to do. My kids were everything to me. They were the most wonderful children and easy to raise, and I was just blessed. I think it's just how it turned out for me. I've always been very healthy and very athletic. I mean, I'll just preface it with the fact that I do Pilates and golf and walk and swim, and I'm a really active senior. I started to get tired, but I thought it was just getting a little older and, maybe pushing myself too much. And all of a sudden, I turned yellow. I mean, like Muppet yellow. My eyes were bright yellow. I'm like, oh, there's something wrong here.
I'm an assistant professor in radiology, and I develop new imaging technologies. One of my main projects is pancreatic cancer, actually. Motaz is actually my mentoring team in my pancreatic cancer project. Him and I work closely together. And so I just sent him a message explaining what was going on and that it was a little concerning, and he agreed. And he just told me, bring her over here. We'll see her right away.
She came to see us at Newton Wellesley Hospital, and she came to see what's known as the multidisciplinary team.
I am so thankful I have these doctors. They're the best. You know what the radiation nurses said? How did you get the dream team? Dr. Yang, he's very detail-oriented, happy. No matter what news he's giving you, he's making you feel good about it. Dr. Kadan, I would say he's very caring, very smart, as well as detail-oriented. He makes you feel like there's nobody else in the world but you that he's thinking about. Dr. Han, he was great. He's a real happy, has a really good sense of humor too. They are just so kind and smart. What a combination. And they're all good looking, all of them. But I have a little special place for Dr. McDreamy.
When we meet a patient, we meet the patient all together right from the very beginning so that the patient knows that we are constantly working together as a unified team.
When we went in, my family was there, and Dr. Kadan, and that's when I met Dr. Yang. Brought up this scan, and he says, you see that, the little thing? That's a tumor on your pancreas. I'm trying to process this. And I'm like, do you mean I have pancreatic cancer? Now I know what that is, and that's not good. It took even a month before it just really dawned on me that this was serious. I could die.
I took Irene to the operating room. We had planned to do the Whipple operation.
Whipple procedure, or the most common operation done for pancreatic cancer, has always been viewed as one of the most complex, difficult, high-risk operations. And really, leadership at a handful of institutions, including the Mass General, really turned it into an operation that is now done safely throughout the country.
Once we got into the operating room, I immediately noticed a firm lump on the liver. So I was a little bit concerned by that lump and that it could be spread from the tumor. We biopsied this, and this came back as positive for cancer. So at that point in time, we could say that Irene unfortunately had metastatic disease. Jumping in to do a big operation would not help Irene at that time.
We set upon a course where she received very strong chemotherapy, followed by very strong radiation to the pancreas to attack and kill the original pancreatic tumor.
Chemo, I was tired. I slept on that couch probably most of the day, and then I'd go to bed at night and wake up the next day And I was good for about an hour, and then I was tired again and would sleep. And you're like a zombie. I mean, I could hardly walk.
When Irene ended up getting her chemotherapy, the one thing that we quickly noticed and learned is that she was responding well. So Irene was now entering this select category of patient who were becoming candidates, potentially, for consideration of surgery, a little bit outside of what's considered conventional. We, as a team, were willing to consider her for this operation, and so I felt comfortable knowing that I have the backing of my colleagues to do so.
So I was in Dr. Yang's office, and Dr. Kudan called, and he says, Irene, how would you like to have the Whipple? And I'm like, yes, I want to have the Whipple.
It's still a small proportion of patients who can go to the operating room for the Whipple surgery. It's an even smaller proportion of patients who can ever be considered for that operation in the setting of metastatic disease. But on occasion, we do have patients whose tumors do come under very good control. I couldn't have been more thrilled with the fact that we ended up back in the operating room for a second operation. The amazing thing then happened was that her pathology report came out 7 to 10 days after surgery. And it showed that her tumor had completely dissolved and died. That's basically a miracle come true.
Dr. Kudan told me I was this miracle girl, and I was just, I shed some tears. I was so happy. These guys, they're miracle workers, really. I mean, think about it. I had liver and pancreatic cancer, and here I am sitting with hope to see these grandkids graduate from high school.
Irene's case really shows a lot of why expertise in pancreatic cancer or in any individual cancer is so important.
People choose to get their care here because they want care from the very best.
We are now very hopeful that she's going to be one of our long-term survivors. It really does feel like the kind of thing that can only happen in a place like MGH.
Mass General is, I can't say enough about him. I'm alive. What more can I say?